Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I'm your host, Andrew, and joining me tonight is Joe, since Jason is off in Philly's land enjoying Pride Night and the only night this week that it's not going to be oppressively hot in Philadelphia, even though it's hot as hell down there right now. How are you doing, Joe?
Look, man, I'm in a dark place when it comes to the Cubs. More on that later, but overall, I can't complain, man. Had a real nice weekend with both my father and my father-in-law, so it was nice to celebrate Father's Day this weekend.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, we spent a good chunk of Sunday with my wife's dad, my father-in-law, up at their house. Had a nice cookout. Hang out with my dad when he gets back. He and mom are up in Maine right now, enjoying some well-earned vacation time and temperatures that are far cooler than they are down here. Lucky them. Lucky guy. Lucky. They're sending pictures from like the back deck, the bike rides they're going on, the trails up there. It's gorgeous looking right now. Can't beat it. All right, so Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
So I'm still on the Hard Mountain Dew train. I've got the watermelon because I'm in a very sour mood, as you can tell. I have shifted into thinking about this fall and college football at this point, or at least mentally, I'm starting to get there. So rocking the alma mater shirt tonight and the Hard Mountain Dew watermelon for the sour flavor and the live wire because pretty sure things will liven up in a little bit for me.
Very nice. Tonight from Rusty Rail Brewing, I am drinking the Moose Snacks. It's a peanut butter fudge golden stout. So hey, I found myself a stout, and it's even golden for the people that say you can't drink heavy beer in the summer. So shove it. All right. And for the record, Jason did text the group chat tonight. For him, he is drinking water tonight. He is skipping the beer altogether, although I made a joke about not realizing that Yingling came in a plastic bottle. It's basically water anyway. All right. So kicking it off tonight, Joe, let's move it into Father's Day. You know, as we mentioned, it was yesterday. It was a great day. And you know, to all the fathers and also the mothers that have to play father out there, here's to all of you. Some of our great father-son duos in MLB history. I just wanted to touch on a couple of them, Joe. You know, you've got the two, probably the two biggest right now, Bobby and Barry Bonds, then Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. There's some other really good father-son duos though. Felipe and Moises Alou, Vladimir Guerrero, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Ray Boone and Bob Boone, Mel Stottlemyre and Todd Stottlemyre, Jose Cruz and Jose Cruz Jr., Gus Bell and Buddy Bell, Sandy Alomar and Roberto Alomar, Dizzy Trout and Steve Trout, neither of which are related to Mike Trout, ironically enough. You know, there's more, but those are some of the best I could find. I mean, you know, if you want to use, I guess, WAR would maybe be the fairest way to compare the generations. I mean, it's going to be forever till anybody's going to catch Bobby and Barry because Barry put up a ridiculous, like 120 to 160 WAR. And, you know, the Griffeys, Ken Griffey Jr. is, spearheaded the lead on that one pretty far. So that one's not likely to ever be broken, but you know, that some of the father-son combos I always liked. Did I miss any that you could think of, Joe?
No, I don't think so. I think
Right.
you caught all the ones that caught my eye initially.
Yeah. So I think I know the Griffeys played together. I think the Boones might have played together too. So for the father sons that had the chance to play together, which is a particularly impressive feat considering how late players typically come up to the show in Major League Baseball. You know, props to them.
I did see that Gary Sheffield's kid is going to be at the draft combine, so
nice.
That could be the next one eventually.
I wonder if he has his
not
dad's
to play together, but
yeah. I wonder if he's got his dad's bat wiggle, you know?
He does, according to the video I saw, so.
Nice. I will be 100% okay to see that bat wiggle come back to baseball again. That was classic. Yeah. Oh, man, the fact that he could still go down and golf as well as he did while getting the wiggle timed up with the pitch, just impressive. Just impressive. Yep. All right, and then in a topic that strikes near and dear to the hearts of us and anybody who follows the show, you know, given our name of Dollar Dogs, Joey Chestnut banned from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in one of the most ridiculously stupid decisions I think I've ever seen, and I've seen quite a few at this point. So, Joe, as you know, Joey Chestnut, he's the 16-time champion of the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. He is the GOAT of eating sports, and I don't care who wants to challenge me with Kobayashi. Kobayashi is not the GOAT. Joey Chestnut's the GOAT. He's not going to compete in the 4th of July event next month per Major League Eating. Chestnut's the biggest star of the entire show. He's known as Jaws. He's won the event 8 years in a row. He reportedly agreed to a sponsorship deal with Impossible Foods, a company that makes plant-based hot dogs, and a competing company to Nathan's famous hot dogs. MLE organizer George Shea said it would be like Michael Jordan saying to Nike, "I'm going to represent Adidas too." Chestnut said, quote, "I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country on the 4th. I've been training to defend my title. Sadly, this is the decision of Nathan's and Major League Eating are making, and it will deprive the great fans of the holiday's usual joy and entertainment." Impossible Foods in their statement said they support Chestnut, quote, "in any contest he chooses, and that meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener." Love that line. Major League Eating said in their statement it was, quote, "devastated to find out that Chestnut has chosen to represent a rival brand that sells plant-based hot dogs." MLE and Nathan's went through great lengths in recent months to accommodate Joey and his management team, agreeing to the appearance fee and allowing Joey to compete in a rival unbranded hot dog eating contest on Labor Day. That's the one with Kobayashi, isn't it?
I don't know, but
okay. I think that might be because they've been angling that one for years. He said, they said, "For nearly 2 decades, we have worked under the same basic hot dog exclusivity provisions. However, it seems that Joey and his managers have prioritized a new partnership with a different hot dog brand over our longtime relationship." In his post, Chestnut said he doesn't have a contract with MLE's or Nathan's, and, quote, "they're looking to change the rules from past years as it related to other partners I can work with." So, Joe, what do you think?
This is garbage, man. Like, you're gonna ruin something that's perfectly good. Rob Manfred must work for Nathan's on the side or some shit. This is really dumb. Like, I mean, we've been watching that for years. That's been a 4th of July tradition in our house, and it's like, well, we know Chestnut's going to win, but how many is he going to eat? And that's always kind of been like the thing. And then of course you end up going on the MLE website and start reading off all the different other records there are, and you're just like grossed out, but also impressed at the same time. And it's like, you're really going to deprive us of Joey Chestnut because it's not a competing brand. Let's be serious. Like, Nathan's is well established enough that Joey Chestnut's not going to move the needle from Nathan's eaters just because he represents a different brand.
Nah.
Like, it's not like it's not like it was Oscar Mayer for versus Nathan's. That would be a little bit different. I could at least understand it. But you're talking about a hot dog company that's separate and independent and not really competition for you in the meat-based hot dog market. Like, it's just not realistic competition. It's not the same thing, and it's kind of just stupid. Like, it's an unforced error, and there's nothing I hate more than an unforced error when there's no reason to do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I do find it kind of funny that this was announced, and then Netflix announced the release of a Kobayashi versus Chestnut like documentary, and I'm like, okay, who timed this, how, and why? Like, are we being sold a bill of goods? That kind of thing with the fact that he's canceled from it. Like, was that just a work? It just seemed odd to me, and the fact that he didn't hear anything until it was in the media is also a bad thing too.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you 100% on that one, man. It's ridiculous. Anybody that thinks Impossible Foods or any other plant-based food company is going to ever compete with one of the big meat companies is absolutely insane. I understand there's a good number of vegetarians. That number grows, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not my personal choice, but I respect the people that have made that choice. Both my the owners of the store I work at right now, as well as my primary manager, they're both vegetarian. But it's not like they've said, okay, no meat allowed in the store. It's vegetarian products only. They've never said that, and we don't care if they're eating their. Who cares? It doesn't
Right.
matter. Eat what you want to eat. Eat what makes you happy. The fact that Nathan's and MLE is pulling this crap is just ridiculous. Like, you don't have any 4 people on that circuit that are as big of a draw as Joey Chestnut. And I hope their ratings tank because of it. I really do. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous. Like I said, it's an unforced error, and it's you know the the two winners you always count on every year are the Black Widow and Joey Chestnut.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who it's gonna be, and then you have those random entrants in the competition, and it's all a good fun game, but it's like, why ruin something that's not broken?
Yeah, it's the question is not is Joey Chestnut going to win. The question is how much is he going to win by, and how close to his own record is he going to come? Those are the only
Right.
2 questions that matter during that contest. Let's be real here.
Yeah, and the pageantry of it is hilarious. The scene. It's the only major league eating competition that is on TV, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, and it's like you're ruining an opportunity to grow your audience. I don't quite get that, or keep an audience at least.
It's almost like Major League Baseball and blackouts, and why would you do it and limit your audience? Kind of feels like that.
More on that later.
I feel like that's an every week thing with us.
Pretty much.
All right, and since Jason's not on tonight to slander him, David Robertson's going to get some positive light and positive mention from us tonight. He's pulled off a rather exceptional feat this season. David Robertson struck out Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman back to back to back. He's the only pitcher this season that's done that. And he also did it on back to back nights. One of those nights, he had runners on first and third with no outs. So, Jason, shove it.
You will respect David Robertson. Look, I know it's a great show joke, but the guy's pitching pretty well for Texas.
Yeah,
I think this year, not too bad. I have taken the plunge that I didn't take during the draft, and have added David Robertson to my fantasy team effective today, because I need some help, as we'll get to shortly. But
yeah, you do.
Seriously, man, the guy has continued to deliver day in and day out for a couple of years now. He didn't do it in Philly, and I apologize for that. But then again, it is what it is. Get over it, Jason.
Exactly. Jason's note, let's see here. Robertson still sucks and can go to hell for the money he took. Well, again, dude, that's sports. It's going to have every team in every damn sport has had a contract that's turned head on heels and screwed the team over. It happens in every damn sport. I don't care which one you're talking about. Get over it, because the dude's playing really well somewhere else, and it's good to see. And
yeah, you'd like to see him continue to have some success, and he's able to be competitive, and to, what I initially thought about when we talked about this, back to back 2 nights in a row, was that I immediately thought of Rocky today, and there's that scene in Rocky. I think it's when he's fighting Mr. T, and he goes, "You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad." So what, dude? Exactly. I don't care if you're the best 3 hitters in the National League, or could be the best 3 hitters in the National League. You ain't so bad.
I love that so much. Great comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Jason, you're not going to win this one. Just take your beating and move on, buddy. All right, so Joe, what do you got for Bring Out the Good tonight?
So there was this was a story that kind of came out after the London series was over last week, between the Mets and the Phillies. There was a young kid named Mason who's 8 years old, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 5. as a huge baseball fan. They were the guy was like, this check or baseball, assigned baseball, and he picked assigned baseball every time. He just loves the game. You like to see that passion out of a young kid. So the gentleman I think who surprised him, his name is Zachary Darnowski, I think it is. Surprised Mason with tickets to the London Series game, one of the games there, and he got to be on the field and meet a bunch of the players. And Trey Turner's one of his favorite guys, and so got to meet the entire Phillies team, which is really cool. It's great to see people going out of their way to make somebody's day, and especially when you're overseas like that, getting a chance to watch your team, your favorite team, or your favorite players play live. You can't beat that, man.
No, you really can't. It's so good to see. This is why I love bringing out the good, and small acts of kindness make the world a better place. And the more people that do them, the more goodness is released into the world. And I just hope that continues.
Agreed.
Because God knows we get to read the room, it's going to be the exact opposite. All right, so let's kick off fantasy tonight. Week 11 is in the books. Last week's results: Acuna's Boomas. I took down Ronnie. Schmidt happens 15-12. Let's see here. We had Finding Nemo 16 over Air Jordan 11. And in the big rivalry matchup of the week last week, Joe's Happy and Hornsby laid an egg against Jason's Turner and Chooch, who had an 18-8 defeat.
Yeah, this was a forgettable week of fantasy. I made all my player moves, as you know I do, just because. Why not? But it was unconsequential come like Wednesday or Thursday. What's really funny about this too is that when Michael Harris went down, which you'll probably touch on, Jason added Wyatt Langford like on Friday or Saturday. I said, "Oh yeah, because you needed the offense this week." Like, come on, dude. Like,
did I cut? Oh yeah, I did. I had to cut him. I needed the bench skills.
Yeah. The only offensive categories I won was walks by 3, errors by 5, and fielding percentage. Jason took everything else. Jason's team turned 23 double plays last week.
Jesus H.
Like, how does that happen?
I got nothing, dude. That's an ass kicking.
Absolutely crazy. The only thing that I had there was 2 categories that I did pretty well against him in. I would say innings pitched 89 2/3 for me. His was 45 2/3.
89.
I had
you
my
never
pitching had
9 innings in a single week.
Yeah. I should be able to bank those in case I decide to bench everybody. 74 strikeouts to his 45 from a pitching standpoint. And then I had 8 quality starts to his 4. Those were the big numbers that really stuck out. But at least 2 of those quality starts were wasted. And again, more on that later.
Jason's thoughts from fantasy. Another good week against Joe. LOL. Took me all the way up to second, but I get hit with some big injuries in Mookie, Contreras, and Harris, although Harris was struggling, so I benched him. So since Jason mentioned it, we'll push on with the fantasy injuries. There were quite a few this past week. We'd had a couple quiet weeks, and this was not one of them. JT Realmuto, 10-day IL for a meniscotomy. He's likely going to be out at least 4 to 6 weeks. Could be longer. To be honest, Joe, I'm not going to be surprised if the Phillies push it a little longer, because one, he's a catcher, and they want him fully healed for September, not August. So I would not be surprised if that goes a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would expect that to go to 6 at the minimum. Four seems a little too early for a guy who has to be in that position all day long.
Yeah, I agree. Or unless they say you need to come back and you need to DH, although I don't know how Philly would handle that, because that means then you have to put Schwarber in left field, and we all know what happens when you put Schwarber in left field.
Well, he has been getting some extra fielding practice today, along with Sosa got some left field practice this afternoon. So it's a possibility. But
Well, and they also sent Rojas down, so they cut into their outfield depth to
Right.
bring Turner back up. So yeah,
Right.
he and here's the problem. I thought when they moved Harper over to first base that this was going to be regardless of the Rhys Hoskins situation, this was going to be an issue that cropped up for the Phillies because by moving Harper to first base, he's going to be there almost every day. And by putting him there, it means you can't move JT over to play first base every so often to give him a couple days off, let his knees rest. You can't DH because you can't put, Joe, you know better than most. You can't put Schwarber over at first base. That ends horribly just about every time. Schwarber can't do anything but DH at this point in his career. He really couldn't do anything but DH earlier in his career either. But the Phillies have they've kind of tied their hands a little bit with that, and it's that's their bed. They made it. And right now, looking at the standings, I don't think they're going to complain too much, but it definitely limits their flexibility with injuries.
Yeah, I think they'll find a way through it.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is we'll talk more about the Phillies in a little bit, but yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure.
And the biggest thing I think the Phillies lose, I think it's going to be noticed by the pitchers more than anything else because JT Realmuto runs that staff way better than Garrett Stubbs does. And I think you can tell, JT frames better. JT's got a better arm, so he can control the running game better. I'm more curious to see how the Phillies pitching is going to respond without having their, typically all-star level catcher, backing them up behind the plate. So we'll just have to see. Pat Sienkiewicz had a note too with some of the lineup shuffling. Things has to do with the lead in the East as well. Pat, you're probably not wrong about that, but at the same time, the Phillies aren't going to let up right now. They want Atlanta. Seems like they might possibly be starting to come out of their slumber. I'm not ready to call that yet. I'd like to see another series of big bats before I call that. But Atlanta hit really well against Tampa Bay, and even in their losses to the Orioles, they were at least starting to hit. So heating up Atlanta is always going to be a threat, and this is the time of the year when Atlanta starts to heat up. They don't usually start super hot, kind of like the Phillies often do. They don't usually start super hot. This year, Philly decided to say, "Now we're going to start hot early." So maybe it is the division lead. Maybe it's to give other guys time in other spots. Who knows? I think I think I'm going to go with what I said before, though. You're right. The lead might have a little bit to do with it, but it's really too early in the season to think about a huge lead and getting extra rest for guys. I think at this point, it's just a little too soon for that.
Well, I do think he's right though. I do think it changes your calculus a little bit, given that up until this past weekend, really, um, you weren't seeing a whole lot out of Atlanta. Um, so I do think that kind of plays into some of it. At least your thought process is more long term than it is short term right now, um, and part of that contributing factor is the condition of the Braves up until this weekend.
Oh, Pat's clarifying he was clarifying about the time frame for
Oh,
BT. Yes,
oh yeah.
with that complete agreement.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
like I said, and like I said earlier, you need JT back in September. You don't need him back in August.
Yeah.
Even if it means relinquishing the lead in the East, it doesn't matter. You need your catcher in September and October more than you need him in August and July. Oh, stupid meniscus injuries. That was a terrible one for my mother-in-law. All right, so Cincinnati had a couple big blows. Left-handed pitcher Brandon Williamson, lesion on his shoulder, could need season-ending surgery because of it. Infielder Christian Encarnacion Strand, ligament damage on his fractured hand, could also need season-ending surgery. This is from a Reds fan on Twitter at JustinWard26. He said, quote, "The Reds training staff basically cleared CES to start the process of coming back. He then requested a second opinion, and they found ligament damage that our staff missed. What the hell is going on with our training staff?" Joe, he's got a good point on that. If he was cleared to restart and a second opinion found missed that's something that should have been caught before you okay somebody to start ramping it back up. What the hell?
Yeah. I would have thought they would have maybe done a better job, but then again, I can't speak for it because I don't know what he's telling them versus what imaging was done. Without knowing the medical records, I can't really say. It doesn't seem to make a ton of sense, but it also could be information that's a little, that's not completely accurate. So I don't, again, not knowing the Reds organization, I can't say anything about it.
And it's ligament damage. So the original injury was the fracture. I know it takes time for the swelling to go down, but he's far enough out from the injury. You wouldn't think swelling would have hidden a ligament injury at this point, right? Generally speaking.
Probably not on it. I mean, again, it depends what imaging was done. If the hand was feeling fine and they didn't feel any issues, and then all of a sudden it was flaring up, again, not knowing the timeline kind of clouds the judgment a little bit there.
Fair enough. All right, and then this just happened last night, I believe, actually. Mookie Betts, the all-star shortstop of the Dodgers, should be leading before the injury, probably was going to be leading the NL in votes with the season he's having. Fractured left hand after a hit by pitch. Dave Roberts did say after the game it's not going to need surgery. It's not season-ending, but they do not have a timetable for his return at this point.
I saw today somewhere between 6 to 8.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what they announced.
That was a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That thing's going to swell like a beast for at least a week before you can even consider doing anything.
Well, yeah, and it's excuse me, I think it's his glove hand, if I'm not mistaken.
He was batting.
Left-handed.
It's his glove hand.
So, I mean, that's even worse because you're not going to be able to squeeze anything for a while.
Yeah, that just sucks. He's such a good player.
There's been a lot of this year. There's been a lot of guys getting hit on stuff inside off the hand or off the bat.
Yeah.
Or both. So
maybe we should let pitchers use something a little stickier so they can grip the ball and control it a little better.
I mean, if that's what it's doing, sometimes it just seems like it's just moving and it's just kind of catches up to them real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked about this a ton, but pitchers are throwing harder and they're and they're throwing with a lot more spin. So it could be something where it just ran in a little farther than it was supposed to. And
it definitely didn't look intentional. He was trying to jam. It was a 1-2 pitch. He was trying to go inside and jam him. That's what you do with those guys that can just yank and pull like that. You have to.
Yeah,
you see it with Acuna. You see it with Alonso. You see it with Freddie. You see it with every damn power hitter in this league. Patson Cabbage, it sounded like the bat, it was so loud when it hit him. And you're right, Pat. When I watched the video replay, I thought it actually hit the bat knob at first, not his hand. And then I looked again. I was like, oh no. I mean, he just crumpled and yelled. You knew it was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. It's really a shame that this stuff is happening.
Yeah, I mean, I just lost last year's MVP a couple weeks ago. The Dodgers just lost the MVP frontrunner at this point. It sucks. I mean, the Dodgers have plenty of good bats in that lineup, but Joe, I hate to say it, this feels like the biggest loss they could have taken.
The Dodgers? Oh, without a doubt.
Between Mookie's flexibility and playing him in the field, his speed, his glove, like Freddie would have been a big loss, but Freddie's a first baseman. He doesn't bring a lot of speed. Ohtani's just a DH right now. He's not pitching. So I think Mookie's the biggest loss the Dodgers could have had. And, we'll just have to see how they handle it because remember, Muncy's still out. So their entire left side of their infield right now is all backups.
Yeah. And I mean, it didn't help them at all that Gavin Lux really sputtered out of the chute. And I think he got hurt too. Like Gavin
Lux hasn't been able to get he hasn't been able to get healthy. He was out all last year, and he still hasn't recovered from that, I don't think.
Yeah, he came back a little quicker than I think he was supposed to, and he just didn't look right.
Yeah.
At least from what I saw. That's a big loss. That's probably that's the one guy they definitely couldn't lose. To be sure.
And then sticking with the Dodgers for one more, Yoshimo Yamamoto, strained rotator cuff. He's going to be out for at least a few weeks. I'm thinking minimum 4. The MRI didn't reveal any tears, so that's a good thing. And the Dodgers have been pretty cautious with him because remember, Japan, they have a set, they have a set 5 days off between starts. So generally speaking, MLB teams with these Japanese pitchers in their first year, especially, they like to give them that extra day of rest wherever they can. So, the Dodgers have been doing everything they possibly could. This is a fluke injury, and it hurts my freaking fantasy team because he's been fantastic outside of that first start, which didn't count anyway because we drafted after it. I'm sorry, did I point that out? That's okay. And then catcher William Contreras of Milwaukee, he is in the concussion protocol right now. Joe, did you have the Brewers released how serious they think the concussion is?
No, I haven't paid too much attention for obvious reasons, which we'll get to. But
yeah, I get that.
There is one other injury that happened late last night
Okay.
in the Sunday night game. Anthony Rizzo, guy from the Red Sox, playing first base, kind of like gave him a good body check, and it like broke his arm.
What the hell?
Like it was just unnecessary. The guy's running down to first base, and it just like I don't know exactly where it's like he basically like Rizzo's trying to get out of the way, and the guy gets him in the side, and then he falls on his hand and gets a fractured arm. He's going to be out 4 to 6, probably.
That sucks. So was that a case of just a bad toss to him, and they put him right in the path of the runner, and neither of them could do anything about it? Or
he didn't. The fielder didn't get the ball off the throw. I think it was on a hop, and it's one of those things where when you watch it, obviously in the slowed down replay, it's like, well, clearly he's not going to get Rizzo out at that point. So why did he even bother going like against the bag? But again, this kind of kicks up, the whole debate we've had about putting that breakaway bag on the side, because that gets rid of this nonsense altogether. It gives both guys the space they're entitled to on the bag without risking a serious injury like this.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to not do that. It just doesn't. And I will never understand why they don't decide to do something about it, because it's idiotic, and you're going to keep seeing guys get hurt like this, and that's dumb.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary. Again, unforced errors. It's just not necessary. I don't care who came up with it first. I don't care that it's been in softball forever. It needs to be everywhere on a diamond, because it just makes everybody safer. So.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think some little leagues have started to use it too for baseball, not just softball now.
I think they do.
So, all right.
Particularly at the youth level.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move it on here. Joe, the Cardinals have outdone themselves once again by coming up with the dumbest promotion I have ever heard. On Saturday, June 29th, the Cardinals will be holding adult mystery-sized Cardinals jersey, which is, of course, sponsored by Stifle, which is the uniform ad patch. From the write-up of the promotion, new for 2024, it's the mystery-sized Cardinals jersey presented by Stifle. This giveaway on Saturday, June 29th, when the Birds take on the Cincinnati Reds, will be the first of its kind for Cardinals fans. This mystery jersey will come in different sizes, small to double XL, and you won't know which until you receive until you walk through the gates of Busch Stadium. Joe, have fun. Take it away.
This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm not shocked by it. Whoever in the front office made this call is probably as worthwhile as Ollie Marmol is in the dugout. Like I don't understand it. I don't. I mean, it's fine. You want to do a gimmicky giveaway? I guess it's fine. But like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why do something so tacky and so ridiculous? I don't get it.
It's pretty terrible. We've seen a lot of really, really stupid promotions before. This might take the cake. I mean, why would you make it completely random? Uh, what the fucking hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite understand that, but then again, the Cardinals are a mystery because somehow they're in second place. I mean, I know why they're in second place, but a team that we didn't really expect to be there is there now, and it's just the Cardinals are a mystery altogether. Other than the fact that their median age of their pitching rotation is 34, probably.
It's pretty high up there, that's for sure. I just, I love getting a free jersey. I love getting a free shirt. I love being able to say, hey, I would like XYZ size because I'm a large guy. I'd like either an XL or a double XL. I don't want to open a box and get a damn small. What the hell is that going to do for me?
I mean, it turns it into a nice, Christmas or birthday gift or, other holiday gift. But I think it's like, it's a hand me down kind of thing because they gave me one that was too big or too small or whatever.
This is so dumb. We've seen a lot of really, really dumb promotions before, but this might take the cake, man. I got nothing. Jason said the cards promotion is peak Cardinals. Jersey giveaway is cool, making it random size, so they think it's a great idea to give away a small jersey to a 300-pound guy. Sure, makes sense. Horrible giveaway. I mean, geez. Pat said, I was good until you don't know what size you're getting. That's fucked up. Amen, brother. Amen. No better way to put it than that. Oh, man. Why? How are you spitballing ideas in the meeting and go, this is a great idea. Let's make the sizes random.
I will say this. The one way this would have been better is if it was like your choice of style uniform. Like if you wanted the powder blue versus the white or something like that.
Yeah, what would have been
like
a good idea is make it random jersey. Like, are you
Yeah.
getting a powder, a home? Are you getting the City
Right.
Connect? Are you getting an away? You pick your size, but you don't know which of the jersey types is it. Like, that would have been a brilliant idea. I would have been on board with that. Heck, I might have. Well, no, okay. Let's be real. I do not have it in the finances after a Disney trip to make a one-time trip down to St. Louis for a freaking jersey. As much as I wish I did, but that would have been a cool idea. This is dumber than hell, and they deserve every bad thing that happens to them from this promotion. I hope the Reds blow them out 18-0, and I hope Cardinals fans start throwing the boxes on the field because they're so pissed off. If only. All right, Joey, who needs to read the room? Which I'm sure is going to segue into the Cubs based on the week they had.
Pretty much. Yeah, look, the dumb Cincinnati fan that jumped on the field and ran up to the center. I don't remember. I think it was a center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
The cool part of this is the backflip. Like the backflip was awesome. Like good on you to do a backflip and live your moment and fake out the security guard. Dumb of you to be on the field to begin with, and you had to be tased, which is hilarious to me. Get what you deserve. I mean, that the best part about stupid things like this is the memes afterwards. It's awesome. The Mortal Kombat memes with Scorpion finish him from the security guard. Like
That was great.
All that stuff is hilarious. But can we just stop being dumb fans, please? Please, can we stop being dumb fans? And running onto the field. Your ticket into the game does not earn you a right to jump on the field. Stop it.
Amen to that.
So, a few other things. There's an ump was Emil Jimenez, who ejected Nationals outfielder Lane Thomas the other day. And all Lane Thomas did was look back at him. Didn't say a word, didn't like throw his bat, didn't do anything, just kind of looked back his direction. And the second year up, tossed him from the game. Like,
Idiot.
come on, dude. You gotta have thicker skin than that. Like that's ridiculous. You have drawn attention to yourself and made yourself even more of a target now by acting this way. And something like that, when you're a second year umpire, you're not going to lose that reputation. I shouldn't know who you are. Not this early, anyway.
You're not wrong.
And then the other one was ump, who was Dan Bellino in the Pirates and Giants game last week. He missed 18 calls in this game, and 15 of the 18 went against the Giants. And they weren't like close. They were Angel Hernandez bad. Like they were, a ball or two below the zone, and it's a strike for one pitcher and not a strike for the other pitcher. Stuff that's in there getting to the top of the zone and called a ball. It was a mess. It was absolutely a mess. Can we please just bring the challenge system up? This is just dumb. Can we please just bring the challenge system up? I don't want robo-umps, and that, we can fix this without robo-umps. The challenge system we've talked about it before, but it's the ABS challenge system, and AAA uses it, and it's just like the challenge system in tennis. The pitcher can ask for a challenge, they put it up on the screen, and you're either right or you're wrong. It's not going to take extra time. This isn't a replay review where they decide they can't change the call for some stupid reason. This is literally like, hey, I just want to see. And if he's right, he's right. If he's wrong, fine. But at least you know. There's not this guessing. There's not this aggravation that we have for umpires. It's, okay, that looked close. And it's either a ball or a strike, and it's over. Like it doesn't have to be complicated to make a change like this. That's going to help increase the quality of the game, because the batters are going to trust the umpires more, because they know they can say, I don't think so, pal. I think you got that one wrong. And they'll have evidence that they were right or wrong one way or the other. Mm-hmm. It gets rid of ejecting managers because they come out and argue because you've been atrocious all game, and then something else happens and then they get tossed because of it, like because they're arguing about something else first. Like, just it would clean up the game. It would take away the attention from the umpires. We wouldn't know Laz Diaz by name or Phil Cuzzy or some of these other guys. Like it would just clean up the game. It would make it more fun for guys like us to watch it, because you just know. You know whether it was a strike or a ball, and that's it. It really cleans up the game, and there's no reason we can't have it. I'll let you talk about those before the last read the room kind of runs into the Cubs. So
sounds good. On the ball strike system, Pat had a comment here. I think you need to limit it, though, or it can be challenged all the time. Pat, I just looked it up. You're allowed 3 unsuccessful challenges a game. So you have three strikes and you're done with challenges. One other clarification, Joe, the catcher, it's the batter, the pitcher, and the catcher, the 3 that can make the challenge. I don't think it's one that can come from the dugout. So, and that's who it should be. It should be the 3 guys that have the best view of where the hell that pitch went.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've been saying this all year on the podcast. We said it last year as they were testing it in the minors, and especially after Jason went to a Norfolk Tides game, got to see it in action, got to see that it literally took 30 seconds to a minute, and you knew instantly, and then the game moved on. There is no reason not to have this brought up. It's absolutely insane that it's not up yet, and MLB they need to hurry it up and get it the hell up in the major league level.
Yeah, they've just got to clean this up. It would take so much negative attention away from the league as a whole. It would take negative attention away from the umpires, because you get an opportunity to challenge it if you think it's off.
Yeah, that's how it should be. It would make the most damn sense, but what do I know? All right, roll into it.
Yeah, so the last read the room is Boog Shambi, who's the play-by-play announcer for the Cubs on Marquee. We've talked a bit before about how home announcers need to sound like home announcers. And Boog decided to call out the crowd live on the air and say that they were flat. And I'm sorry, but when you have lost 9 of 10 series, and the only series when you can claim in the last, 2 months is a 2-gamer, which really shouldn't count against the White Sox, that you had to come from behind to win, excuse the shit out of me if I'm a little flat in the stands. You're lucky they're even there.
I wouldn't be particularly happy if I was a fan of the Cubs right now.
This is a team that, if you could pull their current record up for me, because I didn't write that down. This is a team that since April 27th is 28th in win percentage in the league. They are 29th in runs. They are 30th in batting average, slugging, and runners in scoring position.
Are you sure you want to hear the record, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
34-38 overall. They're a half game behind the Pirates in the basement of the Central tonight, coming into games.
And they would be 50-19 if the game ended after 7 innings. That's how bad this team has been all year long. And it's just not gotten better. Now, there were plenty of people, myself included, who said that they didn't do enough all offseason, waiting for them to make moves and do things and everything else. And it didn't happen. Like, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Since May 1st going into tonight, they have scored only 149 runs.
That's awful.
How in the hell are you going to win games and compete in a division when that's what you're doing? How is that going to work? It's just not. To give you some perspective on these numbers, right? So the on-base percentage, they're second to last at OPS, I should say, at 625. Their batting average in the last 30 days, 214.
That's awful.
Yeah, they have scored 88 runs in the last month. They only have 180 hits as a club. Like, what are we doing? The only thing that they've done even half decent is they've drawn walks. They have 82 walks at this point of things, the last month or so. But their on base is 296 and their slugging is 329. Jesus. Good for worst in the National League. How the heck are you going to compete in the 4th year of what was not called a rebuild but was called a retool? And this is what we're putting out on the field. The Cubs are 17-29 in the last month or so, and the Rockies and the Marlins are the only 2 teams in the National League with more losses than the Cubs.
Wow. That's
they've lost 9 of 10 series, and again, that only series win in that 10 series stretch is against the White Sox, and again, it's 2 games, which to me is stupid and shouldn't count anyway because they had to come from behind and win a 1-run game against the worst team in the league. Other than the White Sox series, which was, again, one of those things, the last time the Cubs won 2 in a row, May 5th. What the hell is going on? But before Saturday's win, their last win by more than 2 runs was the 17th of May against your Atlanta Braves.
That's a long time.
Yeah, this team is god-awful right now. And a lot of people want to hang it on the bullpen, but they're not hitting.
No, they're not.
They're not hitting to save their life. Justin Steele, Shota Imanaga, Jamison Tyone even have been pitching out of their minds. Quality start after quality start, only for the game to be blown because you didn't score enough runs. And your bullpen gives it away. 3 of my 8 quality starts in fantasy came from Justin Steele and Shota probably, and Shota's one is the only one they won.
That's nuts.
It's absolutely abysmal. And the fact that you still have coach speak from Jed Hoyer, who's saying, well, we won't be good until we won't be as good as we can be until the offense starts clicking. Well, no fucking shit, Sherlock. We all know that. Everybody knows that. I feel like the freaking Cardinals fans last year who knew all offseason that they needed to start pitching, and then they didn't go get starting pitching. We knew they needed a bat. You're counting on potentials. They went into this season counting on potential. The only move they made offensively outside of Bellinger was to make a trade with the Dodgers for Michael Busch, who has turned out to be a pretty good ball player, but he's going through the ups and downs. He's a rookie. This is the most rope he's been given in the major leagues to be productive. And he's had his ups and downs. You didn't have a rock-solid third baseman, so not only does Christopher Morel try to have to worry about hitting the ball, which he does a good job of when he does, but he has to worry about playing third base, which is a position he's not been strong at because you've been dicking around with him for the last couple of years. And you didn't sign somebody in the offseason to take that spot, a la Matt Chapman, or trade for Bichette, or who. I don't care what you do, but you should have done something. You know, Bellinger has not been that great. Seiya has been hurt again. You counted on Seiya not being hurt. Well, guess what? That's like counting on Mike Trout to make it to the All-Star game. It doesn't happen. It's not happening. Seiya's going to get hurt. Bellinger's going to get hurt. Nico is hurt again, but he's still freaking playing. He pulled the hammy, and they sat him for almost a week. And then he played, and I don't understand that whole mess. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. The other day, he freaking broke his hand. His throwing hand. He has a small fracture in his throwing hand, and instead of sending him down to Iowa and sitting him down in rehab for 2 to 3 weeks, you have him playing through it. For what? You have the number 2 farm system in the entire league. Use it. The Orioles aren't afraid to use it, and look what they're doing.
Which, to be fair, is not something we've been saying for long.
No, but you have the best farm system, one of the best farm systems in the game, and you bring guys up and sit them, and they have one meaningful at bat in 2 weeks. Like, how the heck do you expect to develop talent when you're not bringing them up to give them a shot at it? And for the love of God, we're paying Craig Counsell $8 million a year. Can you at least be a little fired up? Please? Get thrown out of a game or two. I don't really freaking care. Like, I don't care if you get suspended for 5 games because the next guy's not going to do any better anyway. Like, I almost feel bad for the way I treated David Ross last year.
Never thought I'd hear that.
You have a lot of Cub fans who are like, Rossi, my bad, dude. It ain't you. Like it just feels like it's the same thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing all over again. And what really pisses me off is that you have people who continue to fill that damn ballpark week in and week out for the entire season. They got 40,000 fans in every single freaking ball game. So what the hell? What's the incentive for them to improve the team? You're still going to freaking show up. If you're still going to show up, what the hell does Ricketts give a shit? He doesn't. He's counting your crybabying about the team all the way to the freaking bank. And I don't freaking blame him. If you're going to keep paying his ridiculous prices to go to the freaking ball game,
yeah,
and you're going to fill that damn stadium every single day that they're home, what's the incentive? I don't have to improve the team. You're going to love them anyway. And yeah, it's really frustrating to have a fan base who, like, you have so much heart in the fan base. And you have a bunch of fans who are they're still going to games. The guys are still covering the games because they have to. Could somebody in the dugout please look like they give a flying shit, please? Instead of saying we've just got to get better, we've got to do better. How about get angry? Get in somebody's face. Have a fucking team meeting for all I care. The
Burn
last
some
time
steak.
the Cubs had a team meeting, we know how that worked out. It worked.
Yep.
The fact that nobody has called for this, the fact that nobody's really in charge, the fact that Dansby was playing through crap he shouldn't be playing through. Can we please just manage this team properly for the love of God? Nico Horner, you can't rely on Nico Horner to make every play and act like, well, oh, he missed it by the fingertips of his glove because it's deep in the hole, and all of a sudden that's the end of the game. Like, these guys can't have to play perfect every single inning of every single game. The starting pitching is carrying the team. Shota's back must be killing him by now. Like, I don't understand this. I truly don't. The fact that they didn't do meaningful things to improve, they've had more injuries than anybody can count, but everybody has injuries. That's the way it goes. It's a game. It happens.
It's baseball. Yep, that's how it always happens.
Can we please? I'm begging counsel, I'm begging the players, can you please look like you care? Please, get in somebody's face when they make a mistake, for Christ's sake. Get in somebody's face when they round out to second again. Like, get angry. I shouldn't care more than you do. I don't get paid to watch the game. I do it because I love the team. But why should I care if you don't seem to care?
It's a great point. And, Joe, to back up another one of your points here, I'm looking at the Cubs' top 10. 1, 2, and number 9 are all at AAA right now. Cade Horton being your number 1 overall. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 are all at the AA level. So conceivably, God forbid you have guys at the high minors that are ready to come up. Number 11's at AAA. Number 13 is at AAA right now. Numbers 22, 23, 25, all at AAA. Like, it's not like it's a talented farm system, but a lot of it's low minors. No. A lot of the good guys are at the mid to high minors and are ready to be brought up if needed.
Look, and I get that, like, Cade Horton is hurt. Killian's coming back from an injury. They've had a ton of injuries in the bullpen. I totally understand that. But you bring Alexander Canario up. He plays 3 or 4 games maybe in a 2 or 3 week span, and then you send him back down. We're trying to count on Mike Tauchman to give us meaningful at bats every day for a guy who should be your 4th or 5th outfielder. Like, and now he's finally hitting as poorly as everybody else is. Whereas for a while there, he was kind of holding things together a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand this. I truly don't. Why play a man down, or why play with a guy hurt? When before Nico pulled his hamstring, his hard hit percentage was 34% of the time he hit the ball. Post hammy, and now with a fracture in his hand, 19%.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. The guy clearly needs time off. Put him on the IL. Stop playing a man down with half a guy, and bring some of these guys up. Bring Triantos up. Bring, Vasquez back up, or whatever. Those guys up. Like, what are we doing here? Bring Owen Casey up. I don't care if Owen Casey DHs. He's a better bat than whoever else we have hitting right now. Brennan Davis was hitting the cover off the ball weeks ago in AAA. He hit like 8 homers in 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? They're still unserious. They still don't care. And again, I have a challenge to 3 people: counsel, the team. Can you please look like you care? Please get in somebody's face. Get angry. I don't care what you do. Get tossed if that's what it takes to fire up the squad. Manage the team properly, for the love of God. We're paying you $8 million a year to manage this team. Please do it. Please grow up. Please do your job. Please.
Yep.
And my challenge to the fans is this. Can you please just not go? And if you have season tickets, I realize that money's already in the bag, and I get it. But if you're just a casual fan, please don't go to the games. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve this money. The players deserve your support, but the owners don't deserve this bullshit. And they have no incentive to improve the team if you keep showing up to games. Period.
Yep, it's true. Hit him where it hurts. Hit him in the wallet. All right, moving on to Down on the Farm. I am filling in for Jason this week, hopefully aptly. Our hitter this week is Matt Wallner, a right fielder from the St. Paul Saints. They are the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Slash line of 519, 552, 1148, and 1.7 OPS. In 6 games and 27 at-bats, he had 11 runs, 14 hits, 2 walks, 5 homers, 11 RBIs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Pretty damn good line there out of Mr. Wallner. And then my pitcher this week is Adam Kloffenstein, a starter with the Memphis Redbirds. They are the AAA affiliate of the Cardinals. 2 starts, he went 2-0 with a .82 ERA, a 1.18 whip, a .231 batting average against. In 11 innings, he gave up 9 hits, 1 earned run on a solo home run. He hit 1 batsman, walked 4, and struck out 13. Not too bad. And then, Joe, let's talk about something happy. How about our freaking Barnstormers, man? Excuse me, the Stormers. The Stormers. Despite playing on the ugliest field in the Atlantic League, they went and ran a 15-game winning streak, tying the Atlantic League's all-time record, which was set by Somerset back in 2000. They went from a 10-18 record to 25-18 before it was snapped. They averaged 7 runs per game during the streak and were led by infielder Christian Santana, who leads the league with a .423 average and 47 RBIs, tied for third in the league with 13 home runs. Another big contributor, outfielder Joseph Carpenter, was on a 19-game hitting streak, and his season average is up to .307. The pitching, I didn't pull numbers for all the individual pitchers. The pitching was overall excellent during the streak as well. Their previous franchise record was 12 games, and that was set back in 2018, and I was actually at I think 2 of those games. Let's just put this in comparison, Joe. Since the expansion era, which was 1961, there have only been 9 Major League Baseball teams that have managed to hit the 15-plus streak, and the last time that happened was 3 years ago now, when the Cardinals won 17 straight in 2021. Here's the Barnstormers, man. That's how you bring your season back. Keep it up, boys.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the Cardinals because they fired their manager after that.
I know. And then look what happened to them. They tailspun. What a pity. Just, I just have a hard time having any pity for that at all.
But according to a former catcher, it's a better run organization.
I don't know. I think your former catcher's looking at his former organization, his current organization, and going, man, I got fucked.
Or he's probably saying, what's the difference at this point?
Yeah, it's true. Lube or no lube, it doesn't matter. All right, so next up is some sad news that just came out late Saturday, early Sunday. Mike Brumley, former Major League infielder, a coach and instructor, was killed in a car crash in Mississippi Saturday night. He was 61 years old. He played for 6 different teams from 87 to 95, bouncing around. Coached for numerous teams, including the Salt Lake Stingers from 02 to 04 and the Ogden Raptors in 08 as manager. He also spent time as a minor league field coordinator. He did that with the Rangers from 05 to 07. He oversaw the entire instruction aspect of the Dodgers minor league system in 09. He was the first and third base coach for the Mariners in 10. He was one of Renteria's assistant coaches on the Cubbies in 14, Joe. He was let go after that season. As we all know, he was just a scapegoat to bring in Madden. And most recently, he was the minor league hitting coordinator for the Braves from 18 to 22, influencing many of the young stars in the roster now, most notably Austin Riley, who, even though the Braves lost yesterday, he hit a 2-run homer in the game. Riley said after the game he didn't sleep all night once he heard the news. He was just in shock. So what a way to pay tribute to a former coach. He touched a ton of guys over many, many organizations. So Mike Brumley, rest in peace, man. You died too young. All right, and then looking at the Orioles, I kind of lumped the Orioles and the Phillies together, Joe, because they played each other, and there's really nothing to talk about in the Orioles-Braves series. That was just a clusterfuck. I'm glad we just won one to break the 5-game losing streak, which is the longest streak we've had in a couple of years, thankfully. That's all I'm going to mention about that. Pulling up Jason's notes here. For the Phillies, it was a rough a week as they came back from London. Continue a road trip. They dropped 2 out of 3 of the Red Sox, 2 of 3 of the Orioles, and after winning the opening game of each series. So the Red Sox, 4-1 win and then a 8-6 loss and a 9-3 loss. Got a win for Wheeler, but Sanchez, Nola, and the Pen struggled in their return from London. With the Orioles, they won the first game 5-3, but it took 11. Lost game 2, 6-2. Lost game 3, 8-3. Ranger pitched well, but the Pen gave it up late. At least they got the win in that one. Walker pitched fine, but the Pen was bad. And then a rare Wheeler stinker as he gave up 8 runs in 4 1/3, and probably a big reason why I beat Ron this week because Wheeler is his keeper pitcher, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think this is where you mentioned it earlier. You're starting to see some of the JT absence kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
Wheeler in particular never shakes off JT, I don't think.
No.
And he was shaking off Garrett quite a bit yesterday and uncharacteristically gave up 4 home runs. Like, that's just not a Zach Wheeler thing. So
Wheeler and JT, that's like one of the tightest pitcher-catcher batteries that we've seen in years. Like, that's up there with like Wainwright and Yachty, Greg Maddux and Gregor Blanco. It doesn't matter what game it is. This guy will be behind the plate no matter whether he is hot as hell, cold as the Arctic. He will be behind the plate for that pitcher because if you don't, it's going to mess up the rhythm and it's not going to go well.
yeah, it's very similar to Rossi and John Lester too. That's the other group I would throw in there.
Yeah, you're not
where
wrong.
It's definitely an impact. I think the other thing too, for the Orioles and the Phillies in particular, is it just me or did this feel like a preview? Like, this felt like a preview of coming attractions. Like, this could be a lot of fun this fall if this is what we end up with. My goodness, it felt like to me this week. If you're a Philly fan, you're kind of just like, look, we came off the London series. It's a week I'm not going to stress about too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting Trey Turner back is a huge deal for them.
Yeah.
Although I would say that Sosa and Johan have been playing really well in his absence. I still think getting a little boost back in your step as a club, particularly with JT out, I think that's huge. The other thing I think if you're a Philly fan, the other thing you're going to pay attention to is Bryson Stott, who has been really slow with the bat through the zone lately, and pitchers are just climbing the ladder with him, and there's no way in hell you're going to catch it. So you really look for him to try to be a little bit more patient and have better at bats here soon, and hopefully let the game come to him a little bit. He's been kind of trying to be overly aggressive with some of the holes they've had. So.
My thoughts on Stott lately, and I don't watch him nearly as much as Jason and Ron, and I'm sure they'll correct me on this later in the chat if I'm completely off. But my impression of Bryson Stott lately is that he's getting so bad at trying to catch up with those high fastballs. He is pressing too much early in the count and swinging at balls that look good but are really junk balls. And the pitcher knows what they're doing with him. They're leading him with crap balls to get ahead in the count so that they can climb the ladder on him because they know he's not going to catch their high heat late. I might be wrong, but that's what I have generally observed from right field watching.
Yeah, and a lot of I was listening to the PHLY Philly podcast today, kind of about this, and they were talking about just how much slower he is through the zone and how he's kind of just behind the 8 ball right now from a hitting standpoint. And definitely, I think pressing. I think you're right on that. Ironically, Schwarber has the fastest bat through the zone too, which is pretty
That's
funny
hilarious. That's
on,
absolutely
on
hilarious.
on that team. But I do think getting Turner back will help Bryson quite a bit. I think getting some things to kind of settle there will help. I almost look at the last week, like I said, and I think if you're a Philly fan, you kind of just go, okay, if it continues into this week, then you're going to be a little worried about it.
Yeah. Jason's last notes. Overall, it was a letdown week, and they were due for a rough one. Hard to win when literally half the lineup is backups. You're missing a great game caller in Real Muto. Good things though. Marsh came back late last week. Trey's back tonight. Still 8 up. So glad they have a cushion as they get healthy, and they might need that cushion. We'll see. It is Pride Night down in Philadelphia. So Jason sent he sent some pictures of the rainbow bell and everything else. Philly always does a nice job with Pride Night. So. And like I said, Jason looked out with the weather, strange as that might sound, because it's not going to be pretty for the rest of the week. It's going to be moderately awful.
Yeah.
All right, so moving it on. So first of all, City Connect. Let's look back at the Twins. We saw them on the field. What'd you think of the Twin City Connect, Joe?
I didn't see much this weekend baseball wise, but I'm assuming if everything that I thought would translated, I think I'm sure they look pretty good.
Yeah, I watched some clips and some replays. I liked it. The ripples, you don't really see them from that far out. But here's the thing I like. You can clearly see the team name. You know who the hell's playing. You can clearly see the numbers and the names in the back, so you know who the hell each player is. Which, let's be real, those are the 3 most important parts of a uniform. What team, who's the player, what number are they? By far the 3 most important things, and the uniforms knocked it out of the park with that. Honestly, solid set. I thought it looked good on the field. I definitely one of the I'll probably push them up towards the front, towards my front third to early middle third, I think, when we do the final rankings. So,
yeah. I think this is definitely a front third uniform for me, for sure. And I think too, like we talked about last week, they did a great job with the state connection versus the city.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do too.
It was excellent. It was absolutely excellent. They were I think the Twins social media team, a hat tip to them. They were doing some fantastic work Thursday, Friday, with like getting personalized back of the jersey. If you gave them your name and a number that you wanted, they would send it to you. You could put like a wallpaper on your phone, that kind of stuff. So they were taking advantage of the exposure for sure. And then the Friday game had a rain delay, so they had more time to do that. So a good job by the Twins social media team, really taking advantage of that and doing a great job with promoting it.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, and then let's talk about the Dodgers because we have to. Ugh. Let me just share the screen here and pull up the slideshow from UniWatch. So they said Los Angeles is a city of dreamers, a place where people come to pursue greatness, a city filled with people shooting for the stars, chasing what many believe to be impossible, a place where dreams can turn into reality. It shows the stylized LED that's going to be on the caps. I actually don't hate that. That's not bad. And then here we've got the funfetti uniforms, cream-based with, I guess it's supposed to be starlight freckles on it. LA is for years, they've always had numbers on the uniforms. It's usually down below the name on the front. Now they have it up kind of where like the Captain C would go if baseball did that. I'm not really wild about that, if we're being honest, Joe. Another picture of the cap. I kind of like the cap, I will be honest. I'm okay with that. Here's a look at the jersey. You can see all the speckles and the weird little, I don't know what they want to call that. Apparently the typeface was inspired by the signage at the Memorial Coliseum. I guess it's supposed to be like space kind of thinking. Although, let's be real, Space City is the Astros. They beat you to it. Tough up. Here's Shohei and his. You can kind of see some of the underbrim effect, although that's never going to be seen. I get the teams do it, but it's a silly detail that doesn't really matter. I just noticed this. They couldn't have bumped the placement of the center name over just a little bit to the right so the end doesn't get cut by the placket. That's pretty lazy. You see the LAD on the other side of Otani's arm there. And Freddie, you can see the wonderful advertisement patch because that's what everybody wants to see. Here's what I really hate, Joe. The two-tone numbers and the name on the back below the number. I hated it when the NBA started doing it, and I really hate it now. It looks awful. And look at Freddie here in the middle. They've got, first of all, 05. No, Freddie's 5. He's not 05. He's 5. It's dumb as hell. They have the name on back high enough that they had to cut the numbers off. What the hell is this shit? Freddie's grimacing. Hey, I'm supposed to be grinning and happy. You can tell Freddie doesn't like these uniforms. They're dumb as hell. I mean, Shohei also had a different colored belt than everybody else. This is just dumb. Joe, what do you think?
Well, I think Otani had a different color belt on because he lost a bet. I'm willing to bet on that. They went 0 for 2 on these. I think it's redundant. I think it's dumb. I truly do. I mean, this is the better of the two, but it's still, whether you have a fly ball or a strikeout, they're still an out. So, to me, they went 0 for 2 on these. The only thing I like at all is the LAD logo. It's the only thing I like on the entire uniform. I think the hat should have just been the lighter blue. I hate the fact that they went to the dark blue for some reason. It looks really dumb to me. Like the Los Angeles and the hat should have been the same color. I don't really care for this two-tone stuff. And I will say this. The only thing I hate about the LAD, I liked it first time I saw it, but to me it almost looks like they're trying to steal from the Anaheim Ducks in a way, with the way that D is done.
The duckbill D. I see what you mean. Yeah,
so it's like it's not even your own original idea. Like, for me, this is not. It's not as bad as the straight blue one that they had, but this is not
Dodgers
any better.
Los Dodgers is pathetic.
Yeah,
but
this isn't much better.
This is going to remain firmly in the bottom 3, probably bottom 3rd, probably in the bottom 5 overall. So this is it, Joe. All of the City Connect uniforms have mercifully been released. The Yankees refuse to participate. Good for them. And Oakland, what's the fucking point? They don't have a home right now. They're leaving Oakland. They'll be in Sacramento for a year, and then maybe they'll be in Vegas. Although, let's remember, there's no funding on the stadium yet, so who the hell knows where they're going to be, really. And in latest news, there's the biggest fuck-up franchise I think there is in baseball right now. But anyway, so, I think in a week or two, we're going to have everybody give their rankings for, we'll go 1 through 28. Let's rank them all, and we'll see where they fall for all 4 of us. Even if Ron can't get on, I'll bug him until he at least gives me a 1 through 28 ranking.
Is it 29 technically, since the Dodgers had 2 uniforms?
Let's do 29. Yeah, let's do 29. We'll rank the Dodgers 1.0, 1.5, and 2. So technically 30 then. 1.0, 1.5, and 2.0.
They did 3? Oh, yeah, that's right, because they went from the pants. Yeah. So we had 30.
Yeah, it's Jesus. The Dodgers really mailed it in the first time, and they put a modicum more effort this time in, but they still mailed it in. This is so dumb.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like a funfetti cake.
Yeah, especially
like
because
the icing on a funfetti cake.
Especially because it's freaking cream colored. Come on. When was cream ever a color associated with either the city of Los Angeles or the Los Angeles Dodgers? It's never been. Never.
It's probably from the Brooklyn days, if anything. But to me,
but there's no City Connect if you're reaching back to Brooklyn.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to think devil's advocate from a Dodger standpoint.
I know, but it's idiot.
Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, it looks like I love funfetti cake, but funfetti on a uniform looks really dumb. So
Yeah. Joe, let's talk about some uniforms that didn't completely suck. Let's look at the minor league uniforms that are going to be, the Negro League uniforms that are going to be used for the Rickwood Field Game. So it's going to be between the Giants and the Cardinals. The Giants are going to wear the San Francisco Sea Lions. That's the top picture here. The Cardinals will wear the St. Louis Stars. So, looking at the old picture to new, obviously black and white to color, it's a little hard to completely say, these are exact replicas of the colors. I'm sure they actually did the research to make sure it's as close as possible. A couple things I like. Number one, they were aware of where the placket is, just like the old uniforms. They have them cut exactly where they were. And I actually like that the lettering is not perfectly lined up, because most of those Negro League uniforms were hand sewn for the entire team, so they were not ever completely perfect. So yeah. I love that Nike actually brought that through. I love the sea lion. They did a good job with that down in the corner there for San Francisco. The hats look good. St. Louis, they didn't have that cap, I don't think. I think they had a blank cap. And the STL, I guess it's fine. That's fine. No big deal. The complaint I will always make on historical uniforms, Nike, move your goddamn either take the goddamn swoosh off, because it didn't exist when the Negro Leagues were playing, or if you have to put your freaking advertising crap on your own uniform, put it on the sleeve where Majestic used to have it. It doesn't need to be there. So honestly, though, as much as we gripe about the City of Connects, as always in these one-off games, MLB does a good job. They get the uniforms right. They get the atmosphere at the field right. All the stuff they do during the game. It always looks good in these one-offs. And these uniforms, I think they look great.
Yeah, I think the uniforms look good. I think the game is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Thursday, I think. I think it's
Thursday. I can't remember which day it is. I thought it was Thursday, and then I saw something about tomorrow. I can't remember what day it is anymore. But I do know. I think I saw the other day that William Mays will not be there. They were hoping he would be there. Mm-hmm. But he let everyone know he wouldn't be able to make it.
Thursday night, 7:15.
Thursday. Okay. So I look forward to the way that MLB packages these events. I'm sure it'll be a fun game to watch. And it'll be certainly, like I said, they do a great job with these kind of games and bringing everybody together and highlighting the important stuff. So I look forward to what should hopefully be a nice game. And I'm not going to watch my team. So
no, this will be a game worth watching. I'm excited to see it myself. So
even if it is the Cardinals.
Yeah. Well, the pageantry, the uniforms, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful spectacle to watch. Always is.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on to oh no, that's afterwards. Or did I skip over it earlier? I probably skipped it.
Or you skipped it earlier.
Yeah, I did. All right. Well, we're going to do it now. So Joe came up with a brilliant idea over the week. We're going to have a new segment either every week or every other week, depending on how much news comes out during the past week, called Who Would You Rather? And we're going to look at different players in their prime, and we're going to debate who would you rather. And Joe, this week you picked two great outfielders, either in their prime Jim Edmonds or in their prime Andrew McCutchen. Since this was your idea, I want you to take the lead. What were your thoughts? Who are you picking on this one?
Well, I think for me, I can't take credit for it. I think it was Smash Mouth Baseball had tweeted out the side-by-side with it. So a credit to them. To me, I got to see Jim Edmonds play an awful lot, obviously, because he was on the Cardinals for a while, and then he was on the Cubs for a few years as well. And obviously I've gotten to see McCutchen play an awful lot. I think to me the separator, Edmonds had great offensive numbers overall, 393 homers in his career. and 1,199 RBIs, and a couple of MVPs, or at least he finished in the top 5 a couple of times, twice. And so he had a great career. He had a flair for the theatrical catch. I think there's one when I think he was with the Angels where he makes that dive, with his head toward the wall, makes this unbelievable catch. To me, like from that standpoint, Edmonds is an obvious pick, but I also think McCutchen was really talented. This is a hard one for me because McCutchen has had maybe a little more longevity on his career. And with the right team, I think McCutchen would have had a lot more success. So I think just based on some of that, and I don't know that I want to penalize him because of the team he was on, but at the same time, that does impact your numbers a little bit. I think Edmonds had a bit of a lasting impact, shall I say. So that's why I'm going that direction.
All right. Before I get into mine, I'm going to quick read Jason's. He says he's going to take prime Clutch, not Clutch, although he was very clutch with the Phillies at times. Bat, glove, speed, and clutch hitting. He took a team without a winning record for 2 decades and got them to the playoffs, talking about his time in Pittsburgh. So here we go. So right now, Edmonds played 17 seasons. Kutch is in his 16th season currently. So he very well could, sign another 1-year deal and tie that up. Comparing the overalls here, Kutch was number 4 in the Rookie of the Year voting. His rookie year, Kutch was 8th. Looking at the head-to-head comparisons, Edmonds does have a World Series ring. Kutch never got there. Kutch has 5 All-Stars to 4. He has the only MVP award between the two of them, although Edmonds was 14th in 95, 4th in 2000, 17th in 02, 27th in 03, 5th in 04, and 26th in 05. So he was close a couple times. The big difference was the glove. I know Jason likes to mention Kutchen had good smooth catching, but Jim Edmonds hauled in 8 Golden Gloves versus 1, although McCutchen hauled in 4 Silver Sluggers versus 1. Looking at the overall numbers, Jim Edmonds an overall 60.4 WAR versus 49.3, although Kutchen has passed him in games played and plate appearances, as well as hits. As we mentioned, he passed 2,000 hits last year. He's now at 2,102. Edmonds more power, 393 home runs versus 309. As you mentioned, almost 1,200 RBIs. Kutch did have the speed edge, 217 to 67 stolen bases. But the batting edge overall, it leans to Edmonds the whole way, 284 versus 275. OBP is pretty close, 376 versus 369. Slugging 527 versus 463. And the OPS plus 132 versus 127. This is a really close one, Joe. I think this is probably going to be one of the closest ones we'll see. I think for me, because I do watch the Central more than a lot of people around here do, because my brother is a Cubs fan. I've seen the damage Jim Edmonds could do in a lineup. I think while Kutch did do the nearly impossible, taking the Pirates back to the playoffs, I still think overall in the prime, I think Jim Edmonds takes down Andrew McCutchen every time. But this one's close.
Yeah, this was a really close one. McCutchen's speed made a lot of plays look really easy, and I think that's sort of an unnoticed factor to that. He was so dang quick that it was easy for him to catch up on it. And make things look that would have been a tougher play look pretty easy. I think offensively, unfortunately, Kutch was a product of the team that he was playing on.
Yeah.
And the ownership of that team that just didn't really invest a ton in making the entire team better. And Edmonds was a piece, of one of many for all the teams that he played on. So.
Yeah, he was never the biggest star anywhere.
No.
So, all right. So that's our 3 picks on that one. All right, moving it on. I'm going to be real quick hitting the Braves here. One thing I want to point out: hitting has been atrocious this year, league wide. Going into games tonight, Aaron Judge leads the major leagues with a ridiculous 1.111 OPS. His slugging is 686. The league average for slugging right now is 390 and the OPS is 701. 701, that's the lowest league wide since 2014 when the league wide OPS was 700. Even in the shortened 2020 season, it was 740. In 2022, while the bats were also a little bit more quiet, it was still 706. Hitting is down right now. And Atlanta, I've seen it more with Atlanta than I have most. I mean, Marcell Ozuna is single-handedly carrying this team on his back. Now, it's starting to heat up. Olsen's starting to hit. Ozzy's starting to hit. Riley's starting to hit. Kelnick is now moved up to leadoff with Acuna being injured, and I think that's done really well. This weekend against Tampa Bay, he was on fire. He looked great. I was extremely pleased to see how he was doing. And because of injuries, they're going to probably leave Kelnick out there more against lefties so he can get that damn experience and maybe, I don't know, give him a chance to start hitting lefties better. So the pitching's been there. Chris Sale is pitching out of his mind. Reynaldo Lopez is pitching out of his mind. Max Fried's been pitching out of his mind. Hell, Charlie Morton hasn't been bad. I don't know if I'd say pitching out of his mind because he really can't anymore. He's getting too old for that shit. But he's been a solid number 4. That's what they need him to be. The bullpen's been pretty solid. Our bullpen is not really giving up too many ones that we shouldn't be giving up. I know Iglesias took the loss last night. It's going to happen. Iglesias, even when he struggles, he's still one of the most consistent closers in baseball. He doesn't overpower you with a triple-digit fastball. He's crafty. He's got a mid-90s fastball. He's got a great sinker splitter, and he's got a wicked slider. And he lets the hitters put the ball into play, lets the defense make double plays behind him. I love that. I absolutely love that because Orlando Arcia and Ozzy Albies have been a great defensive combo up the middle this year. Even if the bats haven't always been there for those two, the gloves have been there all season. So I'm not ready to say we're getting hot yet. I'm not ready to say the bats are out of their slumber. I want to see it for another week or two, but things are starting to look better. At one point last week, we had hit double-digit games back, and we've brought it back down to 8. Brian Snitker has gone on record saying we're not chasing the wild card. We're going to chase down that damn division. And that's the mindset I want to see out of a team. I want a manager that says, I know it's been rough. I believe in my guys. We're going to get there. We've got the track record of getting there, and this is still our goal, to win the division, to get to the World Series, to win the World Series. That's what I want to see. I want to see somebody steady. I know fans would like to see Snit get a little more fired up with umpires sometimes. Here's the thing. We got spoiled for your decades with Bobby Cox getting out in the face of every umpire that pissed him off. Bobby used to write a check to Major League Baseball every year before the season to say, this is for my fines this season. If there's anything left over that I managed not to be fined for, donate it to charity. I don't care. Snitker's not Bobby. He's never going to do that. He's a little more level-headed than Bobby, which most managers outside of Aaron Boone today are more level-headed than Bobby Cox.
I would say every manager outside of Aaron Boone, who shouldn't be managing to begin with, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It does help, I think, that Snit's been able to kind of get them through the peaks and valleys the last couple of years. They've never, the fact that it took them this long in the last couple of years to have a 5-game losing streak, and to turn it around pretty quickly after that to at least get on the other side of it. I think they'll be fine. I think that's the reason for his level-headedness. And I think I I don't disagree with that approach. If you're a team that has the track record to do it.
Yeah, they'll get there. I'm not concerned. And it's too early for a team like the Braves. With what they've done, they're on a run of 6 straight division titles, World Series in 21, NLCS in 20. It's too. This is. I've had to stop reading Tomahawk Talk in a lot of pages because it's too much doom and gloom. People are trying to make you can't make micro adjustments in baseball. In the playoffs, yes, but that's different. You've got 5 to 7 games. This is the regular season. You don't make micro adjustments. Give guys time. And if it's been a bit and it's not going well, then you make a change. Look at Marcell Ozuna last year. Through the end of May, he was under the Mendoza line and everybody was calling him for him to be DFA'd. Snit stuck with him and he went on fire the rest of the year, and that's continued into this year. Stop begging for micro adjustments. Stop begging for a move. You don't need to be making a trade every day. You don't need to be signing somebody every day. Sometimes you just need to let them work it out.
I definitely don't think they're in that much trouble.
No, I don't either.
From that standpoint, and I think
I'm frustrated, but I also understand it's a long season and they're working some shit out.
Yeah, I do think at some point they're going to have a permanent solution in the outfield with Acuna being down. I do think you're going to start to see some of that stuff materialize in the next 2 weeks. I would say July 1st is when people are going to start going, okay, we clearly don't have it, or we do have it, we just need another piece. Anybody who's talking about trades right now, if people are hounding you to trade a player, they know something you don't, and you don't want that player.
Right.
So all of this Luis Robert talk for Philly and everybody else.
Well, that just needs to stop.
If the White Sox are shopping him, they know something you don't. Don't do it.
Yep. Complete agreement. All right, that's it for Atlanta this week, Joe. Let's move it on to the hot list. Let me see here. I just want to make sure. Okay, I just want to make sure I had the right Moneyball guy, so I don't pick your guy. My pick for my pick for hot hitter of the week is going to go to Carlos Correa, because holy crap, 548, 548, 576, 871. That's an OPS of 1.447. 31 at bats, 9 runs, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 17 hits, a double, no triples, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Holy crap. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And who's your top hitter of the week?
So I've got 2. Since Jason's not here, I'm going to do another one.
Okay.
These 2 guys were the top RBI guys for the week. Riley Green with the Tigers, 333, 357, 741, good for an OPS of 1098. 5 runs on 9 hits, a triple, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. And then the other one is my favorite outfielder and yours, Jock Peterson. 333, 409, 722, good for an OPS of 1131. 7 runs, 6 hits, a double, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a stolen base. So those 2 guys had really good weeks offensively.
I won't be upset if Jock's a guy at AA targets at the trade deadline. Won't be upset about a reunion there at all. I love that guy.
Nope.
Pitching, my top pitcher this week, Rodel Blanco of the Astros. Did I steal yours?
No, you didn't let me do Moneyball.
Oh, Jesus, I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead, Moneyball. Sorry.
Moneyball was JD Martinez from the New York Mets. This last week, batting average 450, on base 593. Slug of 1050, and an OPS of 1643. 5 runs on 9 hits, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 6 walks, and 2 strikeouts.
Damn. That's well deserved.
Yeah.
All right. Top pitcher, Rodel Blanco of the Astros. 2 starts, 13 innings, a 2-0 record, a very nice .69 ERA, and a .54 whip. 3 hits, 4 walks, 16 strikeouts, and that wasn't even the most over the last week. 1 earned run, 4 walks, a home run allowed. Damn. Wish I had him last week. Joe, who are your top pitchers?
Um, the only other pitcher I had was Miles Mikolas from St. Louis. Only he made 2 starts. He went 1-0, 13 and a third, 5 hits, 1 run, hit one batter, walked a batter, 11 strikeouts, a .45 WHIP, a 114 batting average against. So, and one of those games I think was against. I think it might have been Friday or Sunday's game was against the Cubs.
Here, I'll give you a second one since Jason's not here. 2 starts, 1-0 record. Logan Gilbert of Seattle, 14 and 2/3. He struck out 17, 184 ERA, a .55 WHIP, 3 earned runs, 8 hits, no walks, a home run. Not bad. Once again, another guy that would have really helped my team last week. Anyway, moving on. Joe, who's the adulting reliever of the week?
So the adulting reliever is Sean Hagel from the San Francisco Giants. 4 appearances, 5 innings, no hits, no runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a .20 WHIP. No wins or saves in this one or losses, but that's impressive. To do that and not be a pitcher of record is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's wow. And a special shout out to Dave Robertson because suck it, Jason. Top teams for the past week for me. I'm actually going to go bottom half of the NL East right now to start. The Nationals and the Mets are quietly getting hot. They might be too far back to make a difference, but they're both 8-2 in their last 10. The Nationals are on a 3-game winning streak. The Mets on a 5. Looking across the league, I also wanted to give a shout out to the Orioles, of course. They took down Atlanta and Philadelphia going 4-2 on the week. They're 8-2 overall. I got to tip the cap. Hell of a week for them. The Twins are on a 5-game streak with a 7-3 in the last 10, and the Mariners are on a 3-game streak, also 7-3 in the last 10. So, really, the Orioles, man, they showed up last week. We didn't. The Phillies didn't.
Yeah, it's good to see them kind of rebound a little bit. They've had a ton of injuries too. It'll be really interesting to see what the Orioles will part with to get some help pitching wise.
I think they're going to have to at this point.
They did mention, I saw somewhere today that they're willing to part. I forget his name, but he's a catcher / first base prospect that they have who's pretty good. Who's like 19. And apparently they've said they're willing to part with him, to get some good help. And they're going to need it. And they very well, could get it from the White Sox and Garrett Crochet. Him and Eric Fetty are 10-6 for the White Sox this year.
Damn.
The rest of the rotation outside of Chris Flexen and those two is 0-19.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make a move.
Yeah, Crochet will be the highly sought after guy for sure, from a pitching standpoint in a trade, and he should be. He's been absolutely dominant for the White Sox this year. It's been the one bright spot they have,
without a doubt. All right, so I think that's it for the hot teams this week. Looking at the week ahead, Atlanta 3 versus Detroit, Fried versus Olsen tonight, Schwellenbach versus Mize tomorrow, Lopez versus Skubal on Wednesday. God, I was hoping to miss that one. Atlanta did win tonight. They came back to win 2-1, and I have a feeling, honestly, Joe, tomorrow might be a bit of a blowout game, but I think most of the week it's going to be low scores against Detroit. And then 3 at the Yankees, Sale versus Rodon, Morton versus Stroman, Waldrop versus Cortez. The Yankees are hot. The Orioles have brought it back to a game and a half in the standings, but this is a week Atlanta needs to play well, especially against Detroit. Detroit's up and coming. They need, you're at home. You need to hold home court against a team that's young. They're looking good, but they're still below 500. You need to show up this week. And with the Yankees, I'd love to see 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. I won't be shocked when it ends up being 1 of 3, but I really think, especially with Morton and Waldrop, I think Sale versus Rodon, I like that matchup for us, but Morton, Stroman, Waldrop, Cortez, those are more toss-up games. So we'll have to, if Morton keeps pitching the way he has been, that looks pretty good for us. But Waldrop's kind of a wild card, hopping up between triple and the majors as he's needed to because of injuries. So, good potential down the road as a mid-level starter, but we'll have to see what we get in that one. Looking at your Cubbies this week, Joe, 3 versus the Giants, Assad versus Hicks, Steele versus Webbs, Hendricks versus TBD, and then 3 versus the Mets. God, I hope you kick the Mets' ass. 3 versus Imanaga, Imanaga versus Quintana, Tyone versus McGill, Assad versus Peterson. Two starts out of Assad in a week is always a good week. He's been pitching really well lately.
Yeah, he's not been able to go as far into games lately, but he's still giving you meaningful innings. I think Imanaga is special, man. That guy has been so fun to watch. He's been great with the with the reporters and stuff. The funny comments after games.
He's hilarious.
He's awesome. It's funny. He puts Mike Imanaga the second on his coffee order because it's either to say Mike than it is Shota. So obviously Obvious Shirts is taking advantage of that and coming out with more Shota t-shirts to buy. But
there's the Obvious Shirts, man. One of my favorite all time. He's
been excellent with the fans, with the with the press and all that. So he's been really fun, a fun part of the year for sure.
All right, Phillies this week. 3 versus the Padres, Sanchez versus Vasquez, Nola versus King, Suarez versus Waldron. 3 versus the D-backs, Walker versus TBD, Wheeler versus Montgomery, and Sanchez versus Saccone. So at least they avoid Galen this time, so that's always good. Or Gallon, excuse me. At least I caught myself for once. And then looking at the Orioles, they've oh Jesus, I'm an idiot. I accidentally put versus the Yankees twice. I know that's not accurate because we have the Yankees for the weekend set. So, oh man, way to go, Andrew. Good job. So the Orioles, like I said, they do start the week versus the Yankees. It's going to be, and that's at the Yankees. Suarez versus Cortez, Povich versus Cole. Oh yeah, Garrett Cole's coming back. That's right. I got to get him activated because I got to get Yoshinobu on the IL because, my IL spot's been filled all freaking season. Then Irvin versus Gill, and then it's 3 at the Astros. Rodriguez versus Verlander, although Verlander's day-to-day, so we'll see about that. Burns versus Arrighetti, and Suarez versus Blanco. So that'll round out the week for the Orioles. So, that's that, Joe. We'll talk about the early All-Star balloting next week. Things ran a little too long this week to do that, so I want to get Jason's thoughts on that anyway live. So I might have to wear the shirt again next week to show my support for who I think should be the starting first baseman, even though Harper will likely take it based on the early balloting so far. All right, Joe, anything else for you this week?
No, man, that's it.
That's good. All right. Audio recordings are on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast. Google Podcast is now defunct. I just got that email. Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spreaker, pretty much anywhere else you can have podcasts. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Merchandise us at redbubble.com. Follow us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer. Twitter's at DDAB_podcast, as well as Twitter for all 4 of us. I'm at PyroLord314. Jason's at JRicker300. Joe's at JoltonJoe35. And Ron's at Tipner Ron. We're presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Manheim. Johnny, I'm still going to take you up if you want to try and squeeze tickets for that Braves-Yankees series. I'd love that, dude. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. Have a good one, and we'll see you next week. And one thing, next week will be another we're going to have a very limited rundown, just maybe the big stories. We want to hear from you guys. Any questions you have, any thoughts you have, send it to us. We're going to probably do this last weekend of every month outside of big stories. We want to hear from you guys. Send us some stories, send us some fun stuff to talk about. Also, if you go to games, send us the pictures. We're going to start doing the pictures from around the league. We'll be doing that hopefully at the end of the week every month. So send that in to all of us. And again, minor league games count too. We'd love to see those parks as well because honestly, minor league parks are just as fun to be at as major league parks. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We'll see you next week.
Go Grimace and the Mets.